Now then, you lovely people, don't forget hit that subscribe thing. You're probably going to be the first one, so hit the bell as well. Unless you're my mum, then hit the bell twice. No, it would need to be three times so it'd come back on. Um, in today's little sermon, we're going to be having a look at why do you want to record. I think it's important that you put some thought into this. Why you wanting to record, like. A couple of reasons that you may want to record your lovely arty music. You might want to get gigs. I still think a CD's best. Drop it off at the venue that you want to play. Try and meet up with a promoter. Go for a coffee with him or her. Try not to do everything over Tinterweb. Bit difficult at the moment. Do you know someone who can sort your CDs out? Can the studio that you're potentially using, can they get your CDs manufactured? Are you wanting to get CDs done to sell at gigs, releasing stuff? Are you going to release it on digital media? So are you going to put it out through iTunes and Spotify? You need to make sure that the aggregator that you're using is decent enough for what you're wanting to do. Are they one of these that you just lasts a year? Are you signing up for life once they're out? Do you get money back off them all at the time? Do you have to wait till you've hit, 50 quid, 50 euros before you see any cash? Do you get demographic info off them? You need this for when you're on your Facebook and your Instagram and all that like. You need to see where people are interested in the band, where they are, how old they are, all the other bits that kind of go along with that important self-promotion stuff. Talking of self-promotion, is it just predominantly for social media? Because another bit that links into this, it's for me, if you're using it for social media, you might as well get it out digitally, even if you're going to record a little EP of, 3 to 5 songs. Get your EP put on CD, make that available for people to buy. You're probably going to be able to double your cash on that, and release one song every 6 weeks. It gives you something that you can put on your social media stuff, and even your website or your mailing list if you have one. And do you just want to get your songs, a copy of your songs for prosperity? It's like, is it something you've been wanting to do for ages? What I would suggest there is, wherever the studio that you're going to go and work in, or whoever you're going to go and work with, are they able to offer some kind of production service? Because they might help you polish your songs up a bit. The other thing is, you may be a singer-songwriter. You may just play keyboards and vocals. A good little project studio should be able to help you with, guitars, keyboards, drums, the like. Is it just that you want to copyright your material? It could be as easy as that. You could be a prolific singer-songwriter, so you're just coming in, sing along, play acoustic guitar, record them all. To do the old run a CD off, put it in an envelope, send it registered post back to yourself. That's still the best way of copyrighting anything in the UK. I know elsewhere on this lovely blue marble of ours that there's companies set up to do this, but I think if you can register stuff with companies like Centric and the like, they're always a bonus. What about recording yourself? Is it an option? Is that something you would feel comfortable doing? Are you happy doing the recording but you're not happy doing the mixing and the mastering? Would you like to do this? Why would you want to do it? Is it fun? Do you enjoy doing it? That's the whole important bit with music. It'll come across in your music. If you were having fun and enjoying yourself all the way through, it allows you to get, if you're a noisy band, it allows you to get that energy down. If you're, a pop band, let you keep the mood up good and go on, and as long as you're focused on what you're doing. Are you recording yourself to save cash? It could depend on trying not to get on the treadmill is buying another plugin, buying another plugin. Will my mic do? Will my mic do? Is this good enough? So there's some things to think of before you get going. Just as a massive big, what they do, them things like that, like glove puppets without, naked glove puppets. Get your artwork done. If you're watching this video, you're going to be wanting to record soon, I assume, or you want to know what the process is. Get on with your artwork now. I think what we need to look at now is preparing to record before you wander through the door in said studio. Does everybody in the band know the songs? Do they all know the chords? Do they all know the lyrics? Are they all happy with it? I've seen on numerous occasions bands come in studios where it's like, oh, I didn't know that chord was there. I didn't know that bit was there. My God, what are these lyrics about? And the other thing while you're thinking there is who's got the writing credits? Probably another video in that of the best way to approach that, so I'll kind of leave that there. If you're a solo artist and you're going in the studio to record, as I mentioned earlier, it's like, are you going in just with your acoustic guitar vocal? Are you wanting to get some session players in, play some drums for you, or even if you've got the studio that you're going to, the chap or chapess may be all right at programming drums. Get some decent charts knocked up. A decent chart, a good chord chart helps loads, helps everyone. So it's a copy of the lyrics, really. Another thing is to get your cash sorted. Make sure you've got your cash sorted out and you've got all that out of the way, because it can be a bit embarrassing when you get into that creative environment and to have to start talking about cash. Get that over and done with before you start. Are you working in a project studio that they work per project, or are you working on a rate for an hour or a couple of hours in chunks? The next thing I think you should be looking at is pre-production. People don't do enough of this these days, especially if you're a band. A good exercise if you're a band is to go through the songs. Say you're a 5-piece band and we're going to be, drums, bass, 2 guitarists and a vocalist. I personally would, if I was producing you an album back in the day with a decent budget from a decent label, get you to play through drums and bass together, singer can have a sing-along, make sure everybody knows where they are. But I want to get 2 guitarists there so they know what's going on. They can strum along quietly, strum along, do the bit. These days, I don't want everybody on the phone. I don't want everybody disappearing off for a fag. So keep that sorted. And then once you've gone through with the drums and the bass, then have a go through with the drums and guitar A. Then have a go through with drums and guitar B. What you'll see here is every now and again you'll discover when you're going through this process that Mr. or Mrs. Drummer is putting different fills in all the time at different places. That's dead handy if you're the bass player, because what it means is you're going to have to just guess where this fill that you're wanting to put in is everywhere, so it gives you a chance to get that sorted. Then Mr. Singist, Mrs. Singist, have a bit chant along with guitars down quiet. Are we all sure of the lyrics? Then singist and back and vocals or harmonies, these all want working out. Write each song down, write the lyrics out, write where your harmonies are going to come in. Record them on your phone these days. It all needs to be sorted before you go in the studio. The other thing that I kind of bung in with pre-production is, if you're going to be borrowing an amp off a mate to go into the studio with because he's got an original 5150 or something, make sure you get it for a rehearsal, because you don't want to be coming into the studio and going, oh, I don't know, I'll get a decent tone out of this. Or are you picking studio number X because they have a big collection of amplifiers, a decent collection of drum shells and drum kits and things? When we're on with drum kits, I always think the biggest hassle that I've always encountered since I've been running my own project studio is its cymbals. Luckily, I've got a decent stash of decent recording cymbals. I've got a decent stash of, handful of drum kits and handful of different snare drums. But don't be changing stuff without trying it in a rehearsal. absolutely, this is everyone. Guitarists, make sure you've got new strings on. That includes you, Mr. Bass Player. I know there are a few, Bob, but you know, you're probably only going to record them twice a year, so I think you can save the cash up to buy a set of strings. Boil them at lastminute.com. The amount of times that I've got to say, hey, Mr. Bass Player, use this bass. Some thoughts gone by. As you can see from all the grey hair, I've been kicking around for a couple of weeks. Actually, I've got a really hard paper round. I've got 2 bags. Now, in the days when I kicked off in the 80s of playing in bands and things, the cost of recording was actually more expensive than it is now. I remember I was playing with a noisy crossover thrashy hardcore band. It was about 1985, and we went to Impulse Studios in Wallsend to do a recording, one take, no dubs. You had 2 hours, it cost 70 quid, 35 quid an hour, plus your tape costs. And all we did is we turned up, and the gear was already set out for us. I think there was a couple of cabs already mic'd up, and the 2 guitarists bunged their amp heads on each thing, and we recorded straight to 1/4-inch tape. We knew what we wanted. We wanted to go in the studio to see what the song sounded like, see if we were all happy with, you know, take a step back if we're happy with what the band sounded like. We got 10 copies, ran off as cassettes, and then shoved them around loads of fanzines and things. And luckily, in the 80s, the tape trading thing was doing quite well, so we were starting to establish ourselves. We've got a bit of radio play thanks to the guitarist brother, who's a lovely chap. We did that all live in the studio, all in one room apart from the vocalist, and if there was any backing vocals, whoever was doing backing vocals went in with the vocalist and we just shared the mic. The second recording that we did, we went into another studio in Newcastle, and we all put a guide guitar down. I can't remember if there was a guide vocal went down. I think there was a guide vocal went down. We didn't even put a bass down, and it was like, it felt a bit alien to us because we just played together all the time. The recording come out alright. The only thing that happened was, this takes you back to days of old, was there was some clicks and bumps, and we spent too long getting back in touch with the studio, and there was thumps and clicks on the tape that they were like, oh, we've recorded over the tape. Kind of tough, you know what I mean, you paid your money. The third demo we did all live in the studio again. We did it all live in the studio, but overdubbed, guitar solos, some other titivating bits. I think we redid the vocals so we could spend a bit more time getting the vocals right, and backing vocals and things. Anyway, that third demo was the one that got us a deal. Personally, I like, as a bass player, I like to record live as a band. That's how I do everything in my studio that I record. It's if you want to work with a click track, that's fine. We can set a click track up, but don't come into the studio without your drummer have practiced playing along to a click track. The other things that we did back in days of old is we had these things called 4-tracks, and we were able to do little demos of everything. There's a couple of these when I was working with people. I worked with a lovely chap called Richard Granger, who's a singer, songwriter, and we did a demo recording in my front room, going onto a cassette 4-track. I think I had a SM58 on his voice. He had this lovely pickup on his guitar that was a microphone built into the guitar, and then put 2 room mics up. I can't remember what the room mics were. That have been somewhat like MD401s or something, because they all had to be dynamic mics. And when I took the recording into the studio where I was working at the time, put the faders up, it was like, wow, this sounds really cool. The only downside was I was on the 37 bus route, so every now and again you would hear this low rumble, but a bit of high pass filter and got rid of that. The other thing as well is make sure that you have everything planned, the order that you would like to do things. Or even better than that is make sure you're so well prepared you don't have to worry about things like that. That would be brilliant. The way of doing demos is very different now. People get a demo stuff up in a DAW and cut it all up. Like I say, back in the day, we just used a 4-track to demo stuff up. The reality being now is I write and record onto my phone. All the ideas go onto my phone. I don't, unless I'm going to sit down for a songwriting session, then I'm using ideas that I'm getting off my phone. Might as well do a little recap of what we've covered. Do you know why you want to record? What's it going to be for? Do you know what your budget is? Have you discussed it with your band? Is your manager getting his hand in his pocket? If your manager's sorting everything out, I would suggest let the manager do all the liaison with the studio. Are you rehearsed enough? Are you tighter than gig tight? Have you practiced your tunes? Have you rehearsed the tunes? A big difference between rehearsing and practicing. Practicing individually, go away, go through your tunes, make sure you know all your bits. That's tremendous, they're all sorted. And then rehearse them as a band. There is a massive difference. Are you going to record yourself? Are you getting someone else to do it? When you're getting someone else to do it, are you going to get somebody else to mix and master it and record it yourself? So is it going to be a collaborative project? If so, I would suggest if you're recording it yourself, get in touch with whoever's going to mix it, get in touch with whoever's going to master it, ask them for some thoughts. Do they offer additional stuff as you go along, giving you some pointers? Clients I have that do this, I don't mind if the locale lending them a mic, popping down a rehearsal, helping them set mics up. It makes my life a lot easier later on. If you're getting everything done by someone else, why are you going to them? Have they got lovely nice gear? Have they got a load of drum kits? Have they got loads of guitars, loads of guitar amps and things? Have they super duper loads of industry knowledge and experience that can pass on to you? Anyway, that endeth the sermon. Thank you and good night. Remember, do the subscribe thing. That's the bell thing down there, I think. Click that. You'll probably be number 3 by the end of this. Hopefully 2 people will have watched it. And remember, the most important thing in the music industry is work hard, be nice, and don't be a dick.